There's something wrong with this town. I know it sounds like a cliché, but I swear, this place is off in ways you can't even imagine. Not just your run-of-the-mill conspiracy weird, but the kind of weird that makes you wonder what the government is hiding. Before I dive into the horrors I've witnessed, let me give you some context. My name's John. I used to be a high school student before the accident. That's when everything changed. I lived a boring, typical life. Average grades, few friends, tinkering with computers in my spare time. You'd hardly notice me. My family and our house were just as nondescript. Maybe that's why we were chosen. I didn't grow up in a small town. Our house was an ordinary 2-story red brick, squeezed between other identical houses. Maybe that's why he picked it, hiding in plain sight. My dad raised me, if you can call it that. He vanished for weeks, returning disheveled, collapsing in his room. I didn't know where he went, what he did, or even his real name. Money showed up in our account, and I never questioned it. Family? I've never met any. No reunions, no calls, no memories. My dad never spoke about my mom. No photos, no mementos, nothing from my childhood. Just us, 2 ghosts in a haunted house. He was as stone, emotionless. Puppies, car accidents, nothing moved him. I sometimes wondered if he was human. But that night, everything changed. At 2 a.m. he burst into my room, frantic. "We have to leave. They're coming for us." Was he dreaming, hallucinating? But his panic was real. He shoved makeshift supplies into a sack, counting down from 30, giving me seconds to pack. I stumbled down the stairs, pulling on a jacket. "Where are we going?" I asked, but he didn't answer. Panic clawed at me, and before I could process anything, we were out the door and into the night. I was crammed into the back of a white Impala with only a laptop, a phone, and their chargers. My dad's hands trembled on the steering wheel, his eyes darting around nervously. The farther we got from the house, the more his tension seemed to dissolve, but we kept driving for hours. We left the city behind, passing cow fields until even those disappeared, surrounded by nothing but flat, empty land. You know how some roads in Australia stretch so far into the desert that they put up trivia signs to keep drivers awake? Picture that, but without the signs and with even more emptiness. My eyelids started to droop, and I thought I could catch some sleep. Apparently, my dad thought the same, because the next thing I knew, it felt like I was on a roller coaster as the car flipped into a ditch. The Impala must have caught fire, because I woke up with burns in a hospital ward. The first nurse I saw handed me a glass of water, all cheerful smiles. I chugged it down, my throat raw. "What happened?" I croaked. "You were in a car accident. Someone found you near the highway. Thank goodness he was making deliveries, or you could have died. It was real bad. The car was shattered, unrecognizable without the roof. Where am I? Where's my dad?" I asked, dread creeping in. The nurse looked puzzled, her bottle green eyes squinting in confusion. "Well, you're in a clinic. You were the only one the trucker brought back." My heart sank. An hour later, officers arrived to question me, but I wasn't much help. They asked routine questions, my address, who to contact, but then they started probing about my father, our basement. Something about them felt wrong, their creepy wasp tattoos giving them a sinister edge. It felt more like an interrogation than a police report. Just as they were about to press further, the same nurse intervened, apologizing for their pushiness. That was the first clue that something was off here. A few weeks later, I was discharged. My burns had mostly healed, and another officer placed me in a dilapidated apartment while they figured out what to do with me. I was recommended to enroll in the local high school. As much as I disliked the idea, I still had plans to graduate. So that's what I did. I've been here for about 2 months now. They couldn't track down any of my other family. The sheriff checks in on me weekly, and my dad is still listed as a missing person. Since there's no foster program here due to the town's size, They're letting me stay as long as I keep quiet and pay rent while they sift through my files. But there's something wrong with this town. I took the opportunity to ask him something I'd never had the courage to before. What happened to my mother? The eerie part was, there was no trace of her anywhere. No birth certificates, no doctor's visits, nothing. All they found were my school records. After months of trying to unravel the mystery, I gave up. Now I suppress everything. With about $2,000 left in my bank account and a miraculous survival from the crash, I'm mooching off McDonald's Wi-Fi near my apartment. I'll need to find a job soon. Now that you're caught up, let me explain what's so strange about this place. First, it's not on any official maps. Sure, there are maps of the town itself, but its location relative to everything else is impossible to pinpoint. It's not even on Google Maps. When I tried using the GPS, it went haywire, unable to pin down my location. There's no information about it online, yet the town clearly has internet access. Second, my apartment is haunted, or at least it feels like it. An elderly Italian woman keeps appearing around the apartment. Sometimes she pops out from around a corner. Other times she's in her room. She's always gone after an hour or so, showing up at different times of the day. Most mornings, I wake up to find her reading at the plastic table or baking cookies with ingredients I have no idea where she gets. She claims to be my grandmother, but I'm not Italian. I reported her to the police about 2 weeks ago. When they came to check, she vanished into thin air. The same thing happened the next time. Now I've resigned myself to having a ghostly roommate. At least her cookies are good. But the most unsettling part is the men in trench coats. They're everywhere. At first, I didn't notice them, but once you start looking, you see them, men in black jackets and wide-brimmed hats lurking in alleys, perched in trees, just watching. I have no idea what they're looking for, but it's deeply unnerving. So here I am, sitting on the floor of my apartment, trying to get a stronger signal. I guess I'll keep a journal of whatever happens. Maybe I'll post again, maybe not. But right now, I have a question for all of you. How do you get rid of a haunting?